Oh man, I did it again. All right, so uh, please bear with me. I'm new to some of these things that's going on. Forget you, Jeff. So, hey, welcome. Like I said in the intro, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate all the support you guys are showing me thus far and helping this channel grow to where it is grown to as of right now. This particular show is where I talk to you guys about the weekly update for the NFL. I'll talk to you guys a little bit about the playoff predictions as the playoffs are right around the corner. Then I'll also talk to you guys about some of the power rankings as well. So if you are new to the channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't be a stranger. I'm not one of those type of people, one of those type of persons that, hey, I want to basically be on a pedestal. I want to interact with you guys. If you got any kind of suggestions, be more than welcome to wherever you're watching, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Facebook, or even on Twitter. Just hey, post your question if you have one, and get to it before we finish the stream. So with that, you guys already had it already in the comment. All right. So with that being said, um, I'm gonna take a little bit of time out and just say, hey, look, all you guys that are out there watching, if you're able to see this, have a safe holiday. Continue to have a safe holiday. Christmas just passed. If you didn't get what you wanted, it's no big deal. At the end of the day, you got a chance to enjoy what you view as Christmas. Some people around the world didn't get the same opportunity. Some people have lost their life before even getting to Christmas. Okay, Jeff, what's your suggestion? All right. So basically, what I do, like I said before, I keep getting interrupted by one of the. I'm gonna block. Matter of fact, I'm gonna block Jeff Loaded. But before I get into it, basically, I'll just give you guys a layout. So what I'll do is I'll talk about certain games and certain games I won't talk about. But the games I won't talk about, I'll give up honorable mentions, and then we'll go on to the games that we're going to talk about. And I won't talk in grave detail about each and every game, just because it'll be a 3 hour show if I talk about each and every game of what I think transpired, so forth. So the idea behind this is to basically talk to you guys about some of the games that have maybe playoff implications, or hey, if it was a significant game to move up in the division or something like that, or if it was a playoff berth, or maybe then we could talk about the other things that went on in the NFL. So Jeff Loaded, let me post this comment up here. I won't talk about Baltimore getting annihilated. I will say why it happened though. All right. So let me get my slides ready to go. All right. So here we go. All right, first slide. So if you guys can see this, hopefully it's light on you guys' eyes. I'm not the best slide maker or whatever it may be, but I try and put together something to where you guys can view it, and it's kind of easy to kind of see who played who and what kind of happened when it comes down to it. So moving right along, first game, honorable mention, the Lions versus the Falcons. Everybody kind of knew, hey, okay, this game didn't have a lot of implications on it. We didn't think, the Lions had enough in them to turn around and do it again. I think they was riding their emotional high after beating the Cardinals the last week, and the Falcons, did just enough, to beat this team. It wasn't for me. It wasn't anything of significance. The Falcons are still the Falcons. They still are in a rebuilding process. I will tell you though, the Falcons their defense really is atrocious. Their defense, I have no idea what they're trying to build. I know you have Marlon Davidson there, you have Grady Jarrett there, I would like for them to get a little bit more linebacker and secondary help. And who knows if Matt Ryan is going to stay there next year. If Matt Ryan stays there, now we're talking about, hey, okay, do we go out and get a running back? Do we go get another receiver to help couple them with Kyle Pitts and Calvin Ridley, depending on if he comes back or not? Don't know what his mental state is. So if his mental state is saying, hey, he's ready to come back and play football, and then we'll go from there. But everybody knows, a couple pieces, it can change the outcome of your season, whether it be on the offensive side or the defensive side. All right. Next game will be the Bucks versus the Panthers. Didn't expect anything big here. I expect them to move on from Cam Newton. It was fun while it lasted. You got a little bit of a squeeze out of it. He came back, gave them a little bit of fire, but that fire was basically like a candlelight. A candlelight. So they needed a little bit more than that. This offense is atrocious. The defense is just getting gashed. So they can't do it all by themselves. So with that being said, I just figure they would turn around and go and get a quarterback in the draft, because I don't know if they trust Sam Darnold either. He came back, but did he finish the game? So, and my thing is, I just think they still searching for who's going to be the leader of the team as well on the offensive side. Defensive side, they can do some stuff on defense. It just they have to put it all together, a complete game plan, offensive and defensively, to compete for this division. Because even with the Saints struggling, or everybody else struggling in the division in NFC South, they still can't put themselves in a bona fide position to compete for the second place or even challenge the Bucks. The only real challenge the Bucks has in this division is the Saints. As you guys can see, a week ago they actually beat the Bucks. So now the next game is the versus the Bengals. Make no mistake. Give my hats off to the Bengals for going out and doing exactly what they should do. This particular team is depleted, has no defensive identity, no pass rush, no kind of ball awareness, any of it. They lack it all. And part of that is because not a lot of people on that particular defense that played yesterday, 2 days ago, has a lot of in-game experience. The guy that had the most in-game experience, you guys seen him flying around all game, was Tony Jefferson. But guess what? Tony Jefferson, anybody know any kind of history with the Ravens, he's not really a cover guy. He's more of a thumper, come down in the box and thump people and so forth, lay big hits. That's basically what he is. And for him to try and cover people, it just as, to me, it was crazy to watch, just to watch it. But at the end of the day, the Ravens came out. They tried to compete. They tried to do the best they could. Josh Johnson did what he was supposed to do, come out, manage the game. Hopefully the defense can kind of keep them in it. That didn't happen. Game got out of control, and it is what it is. One thing I want to talk a little bit more in depth about is the fact that people are saying, hey, Wink Martindale said, hey, he was not going to double cover Jamar Chase. He can't. He can't. The defense he's playing, once again, I told you, they don't have a lot of experience. So I want you to imagine trying to double cover a guy when you don't know the odds and ends of what the offense is going to try to do to you to compromise your defense. So if I go to double team a guy, and I know, hey, guess what? I know I have help over the top. I need to basically make sure I'll allow that help over the top to help. If not, if I get in that particular person's way to give the over the top help, guess what? That defense then is compromised. Meaning, hey, we run into each other. That wide receiver is running up the field by his lonesome, or either in the middle of the zone by his lonesome. Because guess what? We don't know when it comes down to the points. We got to talk and communicate about if a guy comes from the flats or comes from the backfield and runs up the seam. If he comes up from the backfield, runs up the seam, whose particular person is that in that particular zone that we're running? So I know some people took it as bulletin board material, which is fine. It is what it is. If you want to use that as bulletin board material, cool. No big deal. The other thing I want to talk about a little bit is about the fact that Joe Burrow said, hey, okay, they did it to us last year. Okay, if you want to say the Ravens just blew you out last year, got it. Cool. If you're saying that the Ravens ran up the score on you, that's a little bit questionable because if you look at both games they played last year, the Ravens got all their points in the third quarter. The fourth quarter, the offensive points, I'm sorry, the offensive points. I can't help if you turn the ball over, I get a defensive touchdown. I cannot help that. If your offense is on the field in the fourth quarter, you fumble the ball, I pick it up and run it in for a touchdown. That's to me, that's not running it up. Running it up is basically saying, hey, okay, look, Lamar Jackson is in the game, 55 seconds to go. They're up 41-3, and he's still running around or throwing passes. That's running it up. But at the end of the day, just like you said, hey, this is the NFL. And the good thing about the NFL, this ain't the only time you'll see this particular team. You'll see them again. So, hey, guess what? I guess this is a little bit more bulletin board material we need for next year. So, all right, the next game is the Jaguars and the Jets. Again, these are two of those teams that if I could auction them off to maybe a London, shoot, at this point, I want to auction them off to somewhere in Africa. I know Africa would love to have an NFL franchise. In fact, you guys are good on YouTube. You'll see there's a couple phenoms over in Africa playing football, and they're trying to get a league going. And they already got an NBA league for Africa. I wouldn't be surprised if the NFL wouldn't extend the olive branch out there to turn around and say, "Hey, look, let's go ahead and get this thing constructed and bring to the likes." Because it's not like Nigeria and other countries of African descent don't know about the game of football. They know about the game of football. In fact, the NFL is filled with African descent or African born players. So they know about the game. So I would love if we can turn around and get some kind of expansion league or even a developmental league over there for Africa to turn around and say, hey, look, we now want to start to get some of these players to come in and play. Because at the end of the day, football it used to be just an American thing. Now it's spreading across the world. And what I mean by spreading across the world, we're talking about people actually trying to play it. It was already heavily watched in multiple countries, but now people are saying, hey, they want to turn around and play it because they like the brutal part of it. They like the mental part of it. They like the smarts with it and so forth. So that would be huge if we can see that. Next game would be the Giants and Eagles. Eagles put it on the Giants pretty good. The Giants is another one of those teams have a hell of talent on paper. Defense just get gassed. Quarterback, I have no idea if they're going to pick a quarterback in the draft. I would love if they did pick a quarterback in the draft. If they pick a quarterback in the draft, that quarterback does not have to be the guy that's going to get 400 yards every game, the guy that's going to try and get 5 touchdowns every game. He could be a guy that look really smart with the football, and they can move around a little bit if need be. Because the offensive line, I'm going to be honest with you, the offensive line is not the best for the Giants, but they're kind of below the middle of the pack. I have to see what their final rank is going to be for the end of the year. But they're not bad. They're banged up a little bit, but they're not bad. And the biggest thing with them, they need consistency. They need consistency, and they're kind of like the Falcons. They lost some veterans. Now it's a bunch of young folks, young people, young offensive linemen there that are trying to find their way, and they just don't have any kind of leadership or any kind of veteran experience to push them into the limelight of basically saying, hey, okay, look, we got an opportunity to really grow up and be something special. So, all right, next game, it was kind of a controversial game, or if you want to call it controversial or whatever, because the Seahawks were winning this game, and the Bears turned around and stole it from them. For me, just the fact that you allowed the Bears to be in the game enough is to basically saying, hey, look, I think Pete Carroll is pretty much done in Seattle. The only reason why Pete Carroll wouldn't be done in Seattle is Russell Wilson give the word first. Hey, I'm out. I'm leaving. I can't do this anymore. For the Bears, this is what's keeping Nagy around. These type of games, these type of wins, because this is what they're gonna hang their hat on. They look at a team like the Seattle Seahawks, even though their record is kind of similar to the Bears. They look at a team like the Seahawks and they say, "Hey, look, this is a pretty good team. We beat this particular team. We okay with that. We can ride with that." let alone, hey, they played the Ravens this year. They played the Ravens pretty tough. Could have beat the Ravens. So with that being said, I just think that that's the one thing that's probably going to buy Nagy. Maybe I wouldn't be surprised, depending on how these last two games go. He may still get the opportunity to, hey, look, do you want to come back? Do you want to come back? I know Bears fans probably don't want to hear it, but unless a significant upgrade comes by, it's kind of like, hey, you're basically hoping, wishing, and praying that the next coach that you get can turn around and right the ship. And that's a hard right the ship, because now you're talking about, hey, I got to change the dynamic of the offense. You can kind of keep the defense what they are, but how many defensive players are you going to lose based off of this? Because players are going to leave based off of the fact that, hey, how we finish. I don't want to be around this team if we're going to finish, 5-12 every year. I don't want to be around that. So with that being said, some players are going to think highly of themselves, and they're going to want to go join championship type of contenders and so forth. The next game, the Chiefs and Steelers. And this is an old-fashioned beatdown, kind of like what the Ravens and Bengals, or what the Ravens got from the Bengals this week. It was so bad, man, that the broadcast changed from the Chiefs and Steelers and went to the Bears and Seahawks just for a couple of seconds, and then they turned around and came right back to the Chiefs and Steelers because the Bears and Seahawks game ended. So I was like, man, this is crazy that you switched the game off in the middle of it, and you said we're gonna go to a more competitive game, which is crazy to me because we've seen the Steelers down by 20 plus points against the Vikings. They're not the Chiefs, but they were against the Vikings, and the Steelers mounted a comeback. So I was just like, okay, why would you change it? Let's see if they can mount this type of comeback. But as we've seen, hey, the Chiefs defense is for real. The offense did what they needed to do. I will tell you, if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is down for the rest of the season, Gore has proven that, hey, he's more than capable to come in and shoulder that load. Now, what's going to happen going forward? Hopefully, Gore can stay healthy as well. Because now we're talking about if Gore gets nicked up with Clyde Edwards-Helaire being out. Now we're talking about another murky backfield type of situation. And you just don't want that based off of the type of year that's happening right now with the COVID resurgence and so forth. You just don't want those type of things because now you're talking, and at any given time, up to 20 players missing a game. That's just not cool. And then you're already down to your second and third string running back. So next game is the Washington football team against the Dallas Cowboys. Washington football team did not come out and play like I thought they was going to play. I thought they was going to give Dallas one of their better shots. Just did not happen for whatever reason. I just felt like the Washington football team was saying, hey, look, we're just going to pack it in. We can't stop them on offense. They killing us on defense. And I just think frustration has started to settle in for the Washington football team because they had such a lot of promise for this team coming in, not just on the defensive side, but on the offensive side. If you look at it, you had, okay, I was looking at this team and thinking back, I want to say the years that the Broncos had Clinton Portis, McGahee, and it was somebody else that they had. So when they had those guys, or it may not even be that particular year, can't remember what year it was, but basically had three running backs that had everybody had 800 yards rushing. For me, that was kind of what Washington football team was giving me, that kind of vibe of that kind of team, because they had the run game, the quarterback, had the receivers, but it just didn't work out for whatever reason to work. Well, it worked out for Denver because I think they made the playoffs, but it's not going to work out for Washington in this particular case because I just think you put too much on the defense, and then once the defense started to get shaky, then it was like, hey, we have no offense. Whether it started with the quarterback position, you thought Fitzpatrick was going to be the guy, get injured, get put on the IR. You thought Taylor Heineke was going to be the guy, not the guy, and now you're shuffling quarterbacks. You're trying to find who's going to be that guy if Taylor Heineke can't go. So on the other side, though, talking about the Cowboys, if you want to pat yourself on the back for this win, cool. Pat yourself on the back. It's the Washington football team. It is another one of your NFC East brethren that you just take out to the backyard each and every week and walk them down the kill pit and say, hey, look, we love y'all, and you give them a nice kiss on the forehead, and then you just baptize them and put them in the hole and say, all right, see y'all later. We'll talk to y'all next year. And that's kind of what it feels like when the Dallas Cowboys play against the NFC East team. It just does not look like these guys. They come out fired up in the first quarter, but then they slowly just shoot themselves in the foot, and then it just gets bad from there on. The next game, I think it was probably the ugliest game of the evening when it comes down to the offense. It just didn't look good for the Broncos offense. Well, again, have quarterback issues. Quarterback gets knocked out. Drew Lock comes back in the game. He's like, hey, okay, look, he's a guy. He looks serviceable. A couple of throws. Next to a couple of throws, he's just like, bro, why are you even playing quarterback? You should be the punter. The Raiders did barely enough, and it sucks for them because once again, they're staring at the playoffs and right in their face, and it's like they just keep doing this number here. It's just slipping out of their hand. Like we don't really want it. We don't want the playoff. We're not supposed to be here, and that has to be frustrating for a Raiders fan to see. Hey, okay, this team has shown some promise. We've hung in there with some of the better teams. Yeah, it didn't go well the way you wanted to go well for the playing against the Chiefs this year, but you beat some teams. You beat Baltimore. You've had some significant wins in your season, but at the same time, you dropped some blunders of games, and it is what it is. But you have to turn around and refocus. You got to refocus your defense. You got to refocus your offense. Because right now, I just think you guys are just going through the motions. You're going through the motions when it comes down to, hey, do we need to get the run game going? Or we don't have it going, we can kind of just throw up 50-50 balls. Or, okay, if we don't throw up 50-50 balls, we can kind of let our defense do it. Oh, yeah, by the way, half of our defense is on COVID or either on IR when it comes down to our pass rush. Now we have no pass rush on defense. Oh, yeah, by the way, we have to shore up on a defensive side with our linebackers now instead of our D ends and D tackles. And that just, to me, I just think you're not used to doing it. Not saying that they probably can't do it. I just didn't think their linebacking core was needed to come down and help out in pass rush. You have guys like Crosby, Yannick, and Ngakoue there. Why not let them do their thing? So, but I mean, it is what it is. And I think one or two of them may be injured or either on COVID. They'll have to double check. But either way it go, you want that from the defensive end, defensive tackles, and not the linebackers. Because if you do that, you have to do it with your linebackers. Why do you have the defensive linemen out there on the field? So, all right. So real quick, let me check the chat, see if any questions or anything came through. Yeah. They brought their benches. All right. Let's see. All right, cool. All right, so let me go back over. All right. So first game up. We're going to talk about the Thursday night game, the San Francisco 49ers versus the Tennessee Titans. As you guys see on this particular the screen, what I always do is I try and highlight the turnovers, the time of possession, and then maybe the first downs and the yardage. And why I do that is because basically I want you guys to kind of see like the real difference in the games. Most of the time is, hey, okay, if I win the turnover battle, we get the time of possession, and oh yeah, by the way, we get able to move the ball. We typically win the game. That's typically a good recipe to win in the NFL. If you're not able to do that, that's where you start to have wackier type of outcomes. When it comes down to, hey, okay, look, one particular bust in coverage could be the difference maker. I could be losing the first down battle, losing the time of possession, but that one particular big play, a 90-yard run or 80-yard run that ends up being a touchdown, that could be the difference in this particular game. And for me, the biggest thing for me was the fact that Tannehill didn't turn the ball over. That was huge. And that was the difference maker with this particular the game. Because as you guys can see, 49ers had over 100 yards more than the Titans. They turned the ball over twice, which is crazy. And then they won the first down, and then the kind of time of possession was kind of neck and neck. And as you look at it, the 49ers got everybody involved what they needed to do. Deebo Samuel was still doing what he needed to do. But the Titans turned around and said, hey, look, we're going to take what's been working for you away from you. Kittle, I think, had 6 touchdowns in the last 5 weeks or something like that, or last 6 weeks. And they kind of said, hey, look, you're going to get short, minimal type of throws, and we're not going to allow you to get any kind of yards after the catch. Not even going to let you get up the field and get comfortable. We're just going to take them away from you. To the liking of Deebo Samuel, though, because as you guys see, his 9 for over 150, he didn't get in the end zone, but he caught 9 of his 11 targets. That's huge for him. You just need somebody else to help them. He needs somebody else to help them on the offensive side. Jimmy G, I'll tell you guys this again, 49ers fans. Look, the guy is a manager. Everybody kind of wants to not say that, but he is. He is a manager, and I just don't see him staying in San Francisco much longer, because you have the likes of Trey Lance on the back burner, suffering in silence, basically because of this. Because these type of games, I'm not sitting here saying, hey, okay, look, Trey Lance is the answer as of right now. But what I am sitting saying is that kid is sitting back watching it, foaming out the mouth, basically saying, hey, okay, look, I can be better than this 26-35, 305, 1 touchdown, 2 interception. You were sacked twice. I can be better than that. And that is any kid coming in as a quarterback should think that, hey, I can turn around and give them a better outfit. Because you should think highly of yourself, especially being in a first round quarterback. You should think, hey, okay, look, I can give them a better chance to win these games. But at the same time, he has to show some kind of humility and says, hey, okay, look, I'm just here to learn and move, and want to move forward. And once my time, I understand, hey, look, I can't do these type of things. I have to turn around and be more of a threat offensively so I can open up others. Because if I'm not methodical with the ball, now we turn around and we go to these type of situations. Hey, we got 2 turnovers. We got more first downs. Time of possession is the same. We outrushed them. Not outrushed them. We passed the ball better than them. But guess what? They still won the game. And I know this, for me, if I'm a 49ers guy, I'm mad at this situation. And I'm mad at this situation. The reason being is because, hey, we talking about the chances of our playoff chances taking a hit off of this. Because as you guys looking at it, when I get closer towards the end, or when I get towards the end, we're going to talk about the NFC playoff picture. If they lose a couple of these next 2, 49ers not making them. 49ers not making them. It's already slim for them because of the division that they play in. So to lose this type of game, and it was very winnable. You have to look up now and saying, hey, all right, if we need some help, we're not going to get much other help, because as you guys can see later on, some of the teams have a pretty easy schedule going forward. So, all right, moving along to the next game. All right, so this game, I enjoyed the game. The reason why I enjoyed the game is because you can kind of see the effort in Cleveland and some of the players trying to overcome the Baker Mayfield woes. And I was on the phone with a Cleveland Browns fan the other day. Yeah, that's right, Jeff. I talked to Cleveland Brown fans. So I was on the phone. I won't say who it was. And I was talking to him about a particular quarterback prospect that's coming out in the draft that I think Cleveland should take a hard look at, and it is Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati. And the reason why I say that is because Desmond Ridder is not the guy that's going to, hey, I need to give you 4 touchdowns a game. I need to go over 300 yards passing. Look, if you want me to go 11 for 15, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, cool, I can do that. I don't think Baker Mayfield is that guy, that type of guy that, hey, I just want to be, mediocre numbers-wise and be effective to win the game. I think Baker's more focused on trying to have the big numbers and be listed as the top 10, one of the top 10 quarterbacks or the top 5 quarterbacks when it comes down to stats and so forth, because he just figured, hey, you know what, this will give me a little bit more brawn. I can run around and with my chest out a little bit about, hey, I'm the guy. This is what I am, yada, yada, yada. And I just think he needs to kind of dial that a little bit back and say, hey, look, I know this team comes and goes with the run game, with Chubb, Kareem Hunt. If I don't get these guys going, or if I don't feed off of these guys as they get going, now I'm gonna have issues. As you guys can see, you look at Chubb's numbers. Chubb had a really great game, 7.4 yards per carry. That's nuts. Even with DeAndre Johnson coming in and being a good compliment to him, he basically averaged a first down. He averaged a first down. Yeah, it was only 4 carries, but still, it was to the point to where they had the run game going just to be all of that. It was basically dampered because of what their quarterback did. The quarterback turned the ball over 4 times. Now, I'm not going to sit here and put them all on Baker. Some receivers slipped. It was some timing issues, whatever it may be. But I am going to sit here and say this. You can't make those type of throws in this particular type of situation. Hey, basically saying, hey, look, if the guy falls down, if the guy slips, I have to keep my head downfield, head and eyes downfield to see those things happen or as they happen. The other thing is, if I don't have the throwing window, if it's not there, I'm not throwing it. I can't throw it. I got to get rid of it, or either I got to take the sack, whatever it may be. You just got to be a little bit more smarter with the ball. The other thing I'll say from the Cleveland standpoint is I'm pretty certain Baker Mayfield injuries are starting to catch up to him. His throwing mechanics, as you guys can see, his throwing mechanics is coming down like this instead of from here. From the back of his head, towards the top and coming across here instead of straight down. I think his hand is almost, you guys can see it, and he's throwing it is like this, straight down to the ground. And that's, for me, that type of delivery is always going to have issues because you lose the control to move it to the left or to the right. And then you, depending on how high you release it when you're throwing it down like that, it makes you make the ball get away from you. It'll go higher, or it'll be right towards the dirt, how you release it. So depending on the release angle, when it comes down to how high up you have it or how low you have it when you release it. So the other thing is the wide receiver core for the Browns. I have no idea what they train on because none of the stuff translates to the field. Sometimes you get some good productive production from some of the guys outside of Jarvis Landry. Then the next time you see it is like, where are these guys at? I just thought Cleveland tried to put too much on Donovan Peoples-Jones. He was targeted 6 times, 1 reception. I just don't know. I don't know if you target him and Jarvis Landry the same amount, especially if he's not coming up with those catches. If he's not making those catches, then guess what? He can't keep getting the ball. He can't keep getting the ball. If he keeps getting the ball, you're taking away from other people. You take away from other people. Now we're talking about the same type of issues that some people think the Ravens have with, hey, Lamar Jackson, you only targeted 2 people, Mark Andrews, Hollywood Brown. If I have 5 receivers on the freaking field, you're only looking at 2 of them. Look, I'm not going to probably run my hardest. I'm probably not going to be ready to catch the ball because guess what? I don't know. I know it's not coming to me. So, but take it to the other side for the Green Bay Packers. Nothing real crazy to see here. They did what they did on the run game. With the run game, they were methodical. Devontae Adams is a beast. Everybody knew that. But as you guys can see, with Aaron Rodgers, because he spreads it around, these guys catch the ball and they make the most of it. So, for instance, Alan Lazard, Mercedes Lewis, even the running backs, AJ Dillon, Aaron Jones, they get in there. So with that being said, everybody knows, hey, look, bro, in this offense, everybody get a chance to eat. You got to be ready to go, though. The difference in this game is, the turnovers, but you didn't frustrate Aaron Rodgers whatsoever. I think the first part of the game was somebody stepped on his toe or whatever, and that was pretty much it. Like, dude was back there just patting the ball, like, hey, oh, this dude's wide open? Cool. Watch this. Hey, watch this. Touchdown. And it's just crazy to me because I expect more from their defense. I expect more from their defense. Yeah, they got some injuries. Cool. I understand that. But you still got some dynamic players on that defense to turn around and give you some kind of pass rush, some kind of speed up for Aaron Rodgers. You got to speed him up, move him around, and so forth. Yeah, I know he's probably in the top two when it comes down to throwing on the run and so forth. But at this particular point, you can't just let him sit back there and dink and dunk you, and then, oh yeah, by the way, open up the field to where now I can take a big chunk play and be cool with it. So, but at the end of the day, Cleveland Browns playoff chances take a hit. The Green Bay Packers, I think they solidified a playoff berth. They haven't solidified the top seed just yet, though. So, all right. All right, and let me check the chat before I move to the next game. Yeah. So yeah. When it comes down to the holding, I put a post up. I don't know if you've seen it, Jeff. I basically said it would be amazing to see the holdings and pass interference kind of have a balance when it comes down to their calls. Because if you look at it, a lot of the defensive pass interference are initiated by the receivers themselves. When it comes down to, hey, if I give this guy a bone, guess what? They have no choice but to grab me because guess what? They feel that leverage, that instant leverage that's being created. Even if I don't fully extend it, just this right here is enough. Just put my arm up like this, forearm shiver to a guy. Hey, that's enough for that guy to feel that while we're running. Because you got to remember, if I'm running full speed, it doesn't take that much to knock me off my route or to knock me off my defensive path that I'm trying to stop you from getting to. So with that being said, if you have that, then guess what you need to do? You need to allow the replay to turn around and watch the entire play. Instead of watching the time you threw the flag or what you threw the flag for, watch the entire route. That's why I would like to see the NFL go to watch the entire route to where we can see, hey, okay, look, Buddy gave him a forearm shiver. That's why he grabbed him. Okay, cool. All right, no, that flag is that flag is is void because of what that person did. And we got to stop with this. Oh, he didn't fully extend. Look, again, if I give somebody this, I can push him. I can push him away. I don't have to. When I fully extend, that basically saying, hey, I'm going to keep him away from me. If I don't fully extend, that still doesn't mean that I didn't push off on somebody to be effective. So, all right. So moving along. Let me see if there's any other. All right, just holding. All right. Yep. All right. So here we go. This particular game, I like this particular game. The reason why I like this particular game, I think it was pretty much evenly matched between the Colts and the Cardinals. It was pretty much, hey, which team was going to break first when it comes down to defense, getting a 3 and out, getting a turnover. It was no turnovers. As you guys see, pretty much even offensive wise. The big thing for me is the defense not stopping the Colts when they need to stop them. I should have put up here on the third down. Basically, the Colts third down, it was like, hey, look, where do we need to go? We need a good, strong run. Here you go, JT. Bam, here we go. And then if we don't need that, hey, look, Carson Wentz, here you go, a little dink and dunk. Do your little dink and dunk and we fine. And to me, a player that I was talking to you guys about, the Jimmy G or the Desmond Ritter, basically saying, hey, I just need you to manage the game. I don't need you to go out and win it for me. If you can win it for me, that's cool. But I'm not going to ask you to do that for me week in and week out. And I think Carson Wentz is doing probably the best job of that this year, especially in the last about 7 or 8 weeks. Reason why I say that is because he's not trying to do too much. He's realizing, hey, look, I have a run game. All I got to do is be methodical, just spread them out enough. And then, oh, yeah, by the way, here you go. I'll give it to my running back. Let my running back do his thing. Now, what's scary though is they really haven't tapped back into his pass catching abilities with Jonathan Taylor, or putting him in a position to catch the screen passes. They target him, but he's not really super effective right now. He's more concentrated on keeping the run game established, keeping it as an option. What's going to get really scary is once she realized, hey, okay, I think what they did against Baltimore is they realized, hey, look, we're going to flow the offense one way with a jet sweep, and then we're going to turn around and screen game you. Now, if you start to do that and you get really good at doing that, now that's an issue, because now we're talking about, hey, do I want to give up? Do I want to give up the jet sweep to a Michael Pittman Jr., or do I want to turn around and stay home for Jonathan Taylor, who's probably going to take the screen, who can probably take it 75 yards? Do I want to do that? The other thing is the coach is starting to get some players back on defense. They're starting to get some of the other guys back. Now, I know they lost Darius Leonard for COVID this week. If they turn around and say, hey, look, we're cool with where we're at right now, and we just say, hey, okay, we're right up these last 2 games, we get everybody back. Once we get everybody back, now we're going to go forward. We're going to make a legitimate run in the playoffs. I will tell you, with the AFC being wide open, I wouldn't be surprised if the coach turn around and upset a couple of people, a couple of teams. Just being honest, they could, depending on what their final seeding is, they could end up in the AFC Championship. So, all right, let me move to the next game. All right, so next game for me, this was one of the head scratchers for me. This is a head scratch for me, partly because of, not because they lost to the Texans, but because of how the game got played or how it ended up. You had 3 turnovers, the Texans had none. Davis Mills was 21 of 27, 2 touchdowns. Should have had a third one, but it is what it is. And then you turn around and let the old guard, Rex Burkhead, get off on you. Just once he got going, it was all Mills had to do was just manage that. Just manage, feed off Burkhead, let them sell off of Burkhead, and then once they got down, it was over with. They were, I think, the Texans was up by 6 points or whatever, kicked the field goal, they went up by 9, and then they never looked back from that point on. And it was just like, okay, man, what are we going to do? Are we going to try and come back off of this? And it just was Justin Herbert. You could see the desperation in some of his throws he was starting to make. He was like, look, we're trying to come back. I got to do everything I got to do to get us there and put us in a situation, because it's just not happening right now. Losing Austin Eckler for me is just it was inopportune for this offense. Reason why I say that is because what he didn't give you in the run game, he was turning around and giving you in the pass game or the receiving. If he couldn't do either one, you still had to account for the guy. So you're having to account for him, and then now you turn around and say, okay, look, oh by the way, there is no Mike Williams as well. So now no Austin Eckler, no Mike Williams, just Keenan Allen and the boys. You see the difference in this offense when you take away 2 possible double teams, or either at least a double team and a double team or a spy on another guy. You take away that basically frees up 3 defenders, and basically saying, hey, look, I want to give all the special attention to Keenan Allen, or either, hey, I want to give extra attention to Jared Cook this game, or whatever. You don't have to do that now. And all they did was, hey, look, we're gonna play simple defense, and if he forces it in there, we're gonna take our opportunity. Case in point, the two interceptions. You take the 2 interceptions away, it's not a crazy bad game for Justin Herbert. It just looks bad because of the score and who they lost to, and then the actual interceptions themselves. If he had basically, hey, take one of the interceptions, turn it into a touchdown, I think the Chargers could have mustered enough to win this game. I would have to look at their points off turnovers what the Texans got, but for me, it just was baffling to see because of, hey, how vanilla this offense looked at times. Even though, they got Justin Jackson got 2 touchdowns, still it wasn't enough for this offense, because you had no down the field threat, and the Texans knew it, and they said, hey, look, we'll live with what Justin Jackson is going to do. We'll live with that. You don't have a chance to that quick stability, we good with it. Whether it's Austin Eckler or Mike Williams, we straight. Because Keenan Allen, as great as he is, he's not known for being a burner. Not known for being a burner. Now he can run past the average linebacker, some of the subpar cornerbacks. He can run past those guys, but it takes a while for him to get going. He doesn't have that fast twitch to really get going. From 0 to 60 super fast. He just doesn't have that. But still a good receiver. For me, top 10. Who knows? Something depending on who you ask. Maybe top 5 for some people. But he's not that guy that's going to go downfield, really, really quick for you to where he's threatening the defense. And it just sucks because the Chargers were in the playoffs. They lose this game. Now they are out. I want to say no. Well, I have to look. I want to say either them or the Dolphins are in because of what happened last night. I think it's the Dolphins that got the 7th seed. Yeah, the Dolphins got the 7th seed. I got to see it at the 6th. All right. So moving along. All right. So LA Rams versus the Minnesota Vikings. The Rams, they did what they needed to do. A lot of people have been criticizing this team based on expectations. Everybody expecting, hey, okay, you got Odell, you got Stafford, you got Reynolds, you got Van Jefferson, you got this run game, you got this crazy good defense. Everybody should be able to put it all together and come out and do some really good stuff. That's what everybody look at this team as. And when that team doesn't do it consistently, they do it sometimes, they don't do it consistently. That's their problem, consistency. They kind of get overlooked. A lot of people still don't realize the Rams are 11-4. 11-4. Some people talk about the Rams as if they were 9-6 or 8-7. Yeah, it may have been ugly. Some of the games may have been ugly, but they still come out and do enough what they need. This particular game is an ugly game for Stafford. 21-37, 197 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Really, really bad numbers for him. And if they played any other offense that was effective, right, that can move the ball up and down the field or had a good run game or whatever it may be, they would capitalize off of these turnovers. At least 2 or 3, one or two of them. It might be not all 3, but they would capitalize. Put the ball in the end zone because of what you did. The time of possession, it's crazy because it's kind of even, but this one team had 3 turnovers, the other team had 1. For me, that basically saying, hey, you got the ball and you didn't do anything with it. You didn't do anything with it. Meaning, hey, one team 356 yards, the other team 361 yards of offense. You had the ball you had 2 extra possessions when it comes out to these turnovers, and you didn't do anything with it. So for me, that's a knock on Minnesota. It's a knock on Minnesota. And the reason I say it's a knock on Minnesota is because, hey, you knew what the plan should be because Dalvin Cook was out. You knew the game plan should have been, hey, a high dose of Madison, minimum of Kirk Cousins. Reason why I say that is because you look at the Rams defense. They're set up for if you want to drop back and pass, we're going to take that away from you. We're going to stop you from doing that. We don't. If you do get back there and do it, it's gonna be balls that's gonna hit the turf. Maybe not all interceptions, but we're gonna definitely contend for those passes. And if you don't have no kind of run game, that's even better for us because guess what? We don't have to stay disciplined when it comes down to play that run game. We can turn around, just pin our ears back, come after your quarterback, and yeah, by the way, you may get a 5-yard run or 8-yard run here, but guess what? You're not gonna get that all the time because guess what? You're playing against the clock. Especially once we get up on you. Once we get up on you, you get a touchdown instead of a field goal. That run game gets really, really minimal when it comes down to what you want to do for the offense. So with that being said, I just think Minnesota dropped the ball because they had an opportunity to really come in and not so much a shock them, but still a win. They could have stole a win right here, and I just didn't think Minnesota was ready to do that. To do it when it comes down to, I think they tried to come in and say, hey, look, we're just going to pass on you because we don't believe your pass defense is that good. And there's an argument to be made, hey, it wasn't. But it was effective enough to keep Kirk Cousins to 1 touchdown and 1 interception. I know that's not saying a lot because it's Kirk Cousins, but at the end of the day, you look at Justin Jefferson, look at Osborne, you look at Conklin. They have been and Thielen. They have been tearing people up when given the opportunity. They may not always get the touchdowns, but the yardage has always been there. So I just think Minnesota dropped the ball on this one, and I think Minnesota defense has to turn around and reestablish themselves because there was a time where Minnesota was doing really good on defense, but Austin was just letting them down. It was to the point to where Kirk Cousins was going entire games, no touchdowns, one interception. One touchdown, two interceptions. Those type of things. You need more from your offense. If your defense are going to play like that, and I just think the defense is kind of scratching their head like, hey, look, we could have been in this thing had you guys clicked a little bit sooner and stayed focused when it comes down to what you need to do. Now, I got it. Dalvin Cook has missed a game or two or whatever it may be, but you still got to continue to not lose your identity of who you are. Or if that's not your identity, is your identity not to run Dalvin Cook and have Kirk Cousins be a nice shot in the arm to him? Is that not your identity? If it's not, then it needs to be made as such. So, but that's here nor there. So the drops this game, the Rams win. The Rams are, I want to say, second place. I have to look and see, do they have the tiebreaker over? No, the Cardinals lost. So the Cardinals 10-5. Yeah. So I want to say the Rams are in second place in the NFC right now. It may be the Bucks though. I got to see who won the game between them. But either way go, they're top five in the NFC. So, all right. Next. Now, this is the game I really want to talk about. The Bills versus the Patriots is a rematch. Look, people have been talking about this, and both sides of the fan bases have been talking about it for quite some time. Wait till we get a chance to play y'all the next time. We're gonna make Mac Jones, have to throw the ball 40 times, yada yada yada, and all that. And that's partially true. So we kind of knew it coming in. Hey, if there's no blizzard, if there's no 50-mile gust of wind again, look, you would have to play conventional type of football. Meaning, hey, I have to pass the ball more than 3 times. I have to run the ball less than 45 times or whatever it was, right? So with that being said, I think this is a case of you open up the book. Instead of just looking at the preface, you have to actually start reading the chapters and going and doing more and more things with this book to find out what that book is about. And I think this is what happened with Mac Jones. Hey, you open up the Mac Jones book, you read the preface, and then you close the book because that's what happened with the last time they played. Because, hey, bro, I don't need to throw the ball. Shoot. Hey, how you doing, Mac Jones? Close the book. Done. But this particular situation, hey, no, man. You're not gonna beat us that particular way. Oh yeah, by the way, you want your run game? Cool. You can have your run game. Okay. What we're gonna turn around and do is we're gonna get our run game going as well. But then this is what we're not gonna do. We're not gonna turn the ball over, which is Buffalo. We're not gonna turn the ball over. And then, oh yeah, by the way, we're not gonna allow you to get other people going. For instance, Damian Harris, he did what he needed to do. But if you guys look, the other running backs, hey, we're not giving you no opportunity. And the reason why they didn't give him opportunity this time, because guess what? It wasn't field goals. It was touchdowns. We getting touchdowns now. Case in point, Josh Allen got 3 touchdowns. We getting touchdowns. Touchdowns versus field goals. Look, it's a game changer. It's a game changer. If you want to, hey, I'm gonna hang my head on getting points. That's cool in a windy type of situation where I can't throw the ball around the yard. But now when it comes down to, hey, you have to turn around and play those particular passes, that's different. Meaning, hey, okay, I couldn't throw the ball the first time. You didn't have to defend it. But now I can throw the ball. Now you really got to be there when I deliver them passes. Instead of just, hey, I'm running, holding on to your coattail. You actually got to be there to stop my guys from catching the passes. I will tell you, I know a lot of people give Buffalo all OC a lot of Brian Dable. You give him a lot of slack, but I don't know if it was by design. But it was cool if it was by design. If it wasn't, or if it just could have been coincidence. But Isaiah McKenzie, getting him involved, as you guys can see, you see the difference. You see the difference. Did he have 20 receptions? No, absolutely not. But he was something different from what the guys are gonna get most of the attention. Everybody knew Stephon Diggs was gonna get most of the attention. Emmanuel Sanders gonna get some attention. Beasley was out. You knew, hey, I gotta stop. I gotta turn around and make sure they tight end don't really get established on me. But those guys were effective enough to where, hey, guess what? Isaiah McKenzie's just basically running around one-on-one matchups when he went out for passes, and he made the most of it. So if you look at him, 11 receptions on 12 targets, 100-something yards, a touchdown. Show me another game where this guy had that. So for me, as much as we criticize the OCs and so forth, we gotta give them that credit when they come out and perform, or they come out and have these type of game plans and they get executed beautifully like this. For the Patriots, look, you are who you are, and for me, this particular thing was, hey, you can have your run game. We're not gonna let your pass game beat us. We're not gonna let your pass game get going. Here's the reason why. If your pass game get going, that's something that you're not used to doing. We're not. If we give you the pass game and the run game, now it spells doom for us as a team. And I think the Bills realize that. Hey, look, let's make him pass. Let's make him pass, because that's what we gearing towards to take away from him. Did they get after him and sack him? Nope. They didn't sack him. They sacked him once. Sacked Mac Jones once. But the thing about it is, they frustrated him enough. Basically saying, hey, look, if it's not 100% open, because that's what they coach him, hey, safe throws, safe intermediate throws. Oh, it don't look safe? I'm probably not going to throw it. Or if I do throw it, I'm throwing it late. And that was a good job for Buffalo Bills defense of doing it. So now they righted their particular. They got their revenge for that game 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I want to say it was. They got their revenge for that, and it couldn't have came at a better time for Buffalo Bills, because a lot of people were basically saying, hey, they may not make the playoffs. A lot of people trying to push that out there. I was like, there's no way, because I did a video like this about 5 weeks ago about saying, hey, the team that has the easiest path to the playoffs would be the Buffalo Bills. Barring any kind of injury, they had the easiest remaining schedule. That's not a knock on them. That's how the schedule was made. They can't go back and say, hey, every AFC East team, you need to be at 12-5 by the end of the year. They can't do that. They got to play the schedule that was put before them, and it is what it is. There's not a knock on the Bills for having that type of schedule. It's just that's the way the cookie crumbled in this particular instance. Could they drop another game before the end of the season? Who knows? Don't know. Yeah, you don't know what kind of punch they're going to get from the rest of the other teams, or those teams that they're playing in playoff contention. If the answer is yes, then hey, they're probably going to get a good punch from that particular team. If not, the guys probably lay down and probably get ready to start making their off season travel arrangement. So that's yet to be seen. All right, so next game is all right. So this is the game that happened last night between the Saints and Miami. Not a lot to talk about. The Saints tried to put Ian Book in a situation to where, hey, he was going to go out and at least manage them to a victory. I just didn't think there was enough involvement from Alvin Kamara. There was not a second option outside of him. I just think the Saints relied on, hey, okay, it's Miami and we should be able to beat them. We're at home. The having a home crowd, we should be able to still do what we need to do. For me, I know they don't want to say it, but COVID kind of threw a wrench in their plan. Losing the defensive power that they lost, along with some of the offensive weapons that they lost as well. I'm not sitting here saying, hey, any of those guys are going to be better. Trevor Siemian, Taysom Hill, whoever may be on the offensive side. But I will tell you, it's a difference. It takes on, you take It take a toll on you because now you realize, hey, guess what? We can't do what our bread and butter was when it comes down to playing defense. So now our defense has to shape shift. And then now we have nobody, particularly in the middle of that defense. In the middle of that defense, not having Demario Davis, that's huge. Because I'll say it again, if there's one linebacker that's been severely underrated outside of Darius Leonard or Levante David or even Zach Barrett at times, if there's ever been a linebacker that's underrated, is Demario Davis for the Saints. Like, dude does not get any kind of credit whatsoever when it comes down to what he's able to do on the field. And he should be paid accordingly, but based off how he played and the stuff he does for this particular defense. If he's not, I would be surprised if he wouldn't jump ship and go to another place to where he has a chance to possibly win a Super Bowl. So if that is him, if he does do that, look out for this guy to move. Now, if it were me, a place I would be looking at, I don't know if they replaced him or whatnot. Well, if it were me, I would be looking at a place like Pittsburgh to help solidify that second level. The reason being is because he knows he's going to get a chance to play. He knows he's going to get a chance to play. And then what Pittsburgh is able to do along the defensive line, now he can turn around and just, hey, I don't have to do as much. I just got to do my job in the defense, and everything will take care of itself. The other thing is he's a good tackler. And by the way, he will come and defend against tight ends, and he's not afraid to do it. So, but enough about that. Let's talk a little bit more about this game. Miami came in and said, hey, look, we have to come out and take what they give us. Take what they give us, play sound defense. If anybody watched this game, to me, it felt like the offense fed off of what the defense was doing. As soon as they got to stop, the offense realized, hey, look, we got to go and move the ball down the field. Yeah, we may not get a touchdown, but we got to get some points. We got to get some kind of points. They got a defensive touchdown last night, Miami did. To me, I just think Book was dead set on throwing that particular pass they threw to the outside on the out route. He was dead set on it. Had he surveyed the field instead of just throwing it over there blindly, he would have seen backside. He had the guy coming across. All he had to do is wait until he came into his vision and then just dump it in the middle. But that's neither here nor there. He made the read or whatever you want to call it. If he didn't read it or whatever, he made the pass. He threw the ball, and it didn't end up the way it ended up. And I just think from that point on, it snowballed, and he just never recovered from it to the point to where he was just rattled for the rest of the game. And I got it. He's a young player, but at the same time, it's like you as the coach, I just think Sean Payton thought a little bit more of Ian Book or what he really was. And I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. He's just young. He's inexperienced. He's not. Had that been an 8-year vet or a 9-year vet that has a bunch of in-game experience and he was turning around and making those type of mistakes, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, this is really bad. But he's not. He's inexperienced. He's just not not there yet. Now, could he be there? He can move around. He did make some good throws. I'm not taking anything away from him. I just think he needed a little bit more of that, a little bit more of development, and then he'll probably be a good backup for somebody in the years to come. So, all right. So those are that's the last game I'm going to talk about before I get into the playoff predictors. Let me check the chat. What's up, fam? How about them Cowboys? Yep. How about them Cowboys? Yeah. At the end of the day, the holding calls for me, offense on the offense. You got to get offense. You got to stop giving the offensive players so much credit. You give them benefit of doubt all the time, and for me, I just don't like the fact it's almost like a bias where you give the offensive guys so much leeway and you give the defensive guys nothing, no kind of love whatsoever to basically saying, hey, okay, look, this is what I want. Well, I can play I can play defense now without worrying about a defensive pass interference, because if they pull on me or if they push me or forearm shiver me, then guess what? I know the refs are looking for that. Now I have confidence in playing in my ability, because now because you basically give the wide receivers so much room for quarterbacks too. You give quarterbacks, hey, that's part of the plan. Hey, bro, 50-50 ball? No, not 50-50 no more. It's 30-30-40. 30% are incomplete, 30% that they catch it, and 40% of pass interference. That's what it is. So the defender has no kind of leeway, none whatsoever. It's just like, bro, I don't even need to go for an interception no more, because if I go for the interception, shoot, they're gonna call defensive pass interference on me for that as well. So, all right. So moving along. All right. So playoffs. All right. So now we're gonna talk about the AFC playoffs, and then we'll talk about the NFC next, and then I'll give you guys my power rankings, and then we'll wrap it up. All right. So right here, as you guys can see, to explain it to you, playoffs. The team on the top, the team is to the left, and the remaining games and what their percentages are they favored to win it or whatnot. I basically color coordinated the percentages based off the team that they were playing and whoever was in the lead. So, as, for instance, with the Cleveland Browns were favored to beat the Steelers. It was 51.1%. It may have changed since some of the different injuries and stuff, rosters and stuff, or as they take those people in or out of the game, it basically shifts to the left or to the right. So it may be off. This was done early this morning. It may be a little bit different by the end of the evening. So, and then so forth and so on. And then on the bottom, as the teams to the right and then to the left. The reason why I did that is just to break up a little bit of the monotony, so it didn't look like everything's all stacked up and it's just one big running thing of, hey, but we don't have 8 games, we only got 2. So, and also you have the records and so on. So it should be pretty easy to explain this to y'all. But looking at it, it's basically saying, hey, the Ravens are going to miss the playoffs. The Bengals are going to be in. The Browns are going to miss the playoffs. The Raiders are going to miss the playoffs. Steelers are going to miss the playoffs. The Dolphins, they're basically saying the Dolphins are going to probably drop these last 2 games. If they drop these last 2 games, they're going to miss the playoffs. And so it should be the Chargers that'll make it in the 7th spot. That's basically what it's saying right now. But as you guys know, that's why we got to watch these games played out before we can. Obviously, it's a predictor. It's definitely not saying anything set in stone. Percentages are percentages, because who would have thought the Houston Texans would beat the Chargers? So I'm pretty sure that was probably a 75 or 80% for the Chargers to beat the Texans going into that game. But because of how the game was played, now the Texans actually win the game, and probably nobody predicted the Texans to beat them. So anything can happen any given Sunday or Thursday or whatever games that may be flexed, or whatever days of the week that may be flexed to, if we still continue to have these COVID outbreaks. So that's the AFC predictor. The NFC predictor, as you guys are looking at this, the teams that's supposed to make it from the NFC, probably the Eagles. They'll probably squeak in there. The Saints, after losing that game last night, I think that's pretty much dampened them. Reason why I say it's pretty much it put a damper on them is because the best that they can finish, if they win both of these games, is 9-8. 9-8 is probably not going to be enough to get them in. The reason I say 9-8 is not going to be enough, I have to look at the Eagles and see where the Eagles are going to finish up, or will the Eagles have tiebreakers. I'll probably do that next week, put the tiebreakers on here, who has a tiebreaker and whatnot. And then that way we can kind of see, okay, if this particular team wins out, they have the tiebreaker, so forth and so on. So, but as of right now, the Eagles are scheduled to make it into that 7th spot for the NFC. So, all right, and so let's do this now. So stop that. All right. So now we're going to talk about let me close these things out. All right, so here's my power rankings. So this week power rankings is Green Bay Packers. As you guys can see, them being 12-3, you gotta have them as number one, especially with the Cardinals basically taking a nosedive and some of the other teams just not giving the dominant type of performances. I'm not saying that Green Bay had a dominant performance against Cleveland, but they have continuously found a way to win the game, whether that be through a team's blunder or them just going out and being methodical and taking the win when they needed to take it. So they have done it. They didn't lose a step. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers is another team that, hey, they find a way to win games. They've stumbled a couple of times, but they've always came back and righted their wrong. So and then you have Tom Brady. You can't just totally write Tom Brady off. If Tom Brady is around your club or playing quarterback for you, you always got a chance. You're always going to give yourself that fighting chance. Now, they are banged up a little bit, offensive side and a little bit on the defense. So that's going to be interesting to see how they do things in the playoffs. But as of right now, they're still in the hunt. They're still in the hunt to try and get to their Super Bowl. And I think they can do it. I think they can do it. But it's not going to be as easy as it was in years past. So next team is I know I got a lot of Cowboy fans that are friends on Facebook and a lot of people that follow me on YouTube that are Cowboy fans. And look, I got to give you guys your credit. I know we like to talk trash about the NFC East, but at the end of the day, the Cowboys keep winning. And once again, the same thing I said about the Buffalo Bills. They can't change their particular division that they're in and have them be stronger than what they are. They play the game. They play the game that are lined up on their schedules, and I can't knock them for doing it. Knock them for winning the games that they're supposed to win. Huge kudos to them. Hopefully, the defense continue to play lights out because the offense is not going to get you those 35 or 30 points that they think that the offense can get each and every week. It's just not going to happen. So if the defense keep playing the way they're playing, I look for them to make a significant playoff run as well. But if their offense plays anywhere they've been playing in the last few games, it's probably going to be a one and done for the Cowboys. Just being honest in the playoffs. Next team, Kansas City. Their defense has been ramping it up each and every week. The offense is struggling at times. And the reason I say struggling at times is because people got used to seeing the 50 touchdown efforts in the season for Patrick Mahomes, the 45 touchdowns, 6 interceptions from Patrick Mahomes. And when you don't see that, it basically takes away from how they view the Chiefs. For me, it's when you do that, right? You cannot struggle against a high power offense or a high power defense. Meaning, if you play the Colts take the ball and they have a 10-minute drive and they punch it in the end zone. Now you turn around, you have to play faster than you used to playing. Oh, by the way, the Chiefs' run game is wishy-washy at best. Yeah, Gore's proven he can do it this week. Can he do it each and every week going forward and into the playoffs? If the answer is yes, then maybe they have a legitimate shot. If the answer is no, now we're talking about, hey, same thing. I don't have to come back. I don't have to rush Patrick Mahomes. I need to be able to get there with 3 players, and then now I can drop 8 in coverage. I drop 8 in coverage. I can cover Tyreek. I can cover Kelsey where he comes back. I can cover everybody you have that you want to put out there. Now I force your quarterback to throw into tighter windows. This particular year, he's been struggling with that at times. If he had to throw the ball in tight windows, now we're talking about I got a puncher's chance to win this particular game based off of that. So, and from that point, that's why I kept the Chiefs around the four spot. The last team rounding out the top 5 is the LA Rams. And the reason why I put the LA Rams in here is because this team has always found a way to get back into games, whether they were out initially, whether they was been wrote off, they was not looked at as a top 10 power in the NFL or a top 5 power in the NFC. They always came back and showed everybody, hey, look, we can win ugly, we can win cute, we can win tight games, we can win it, and we can lose sometimes. But that doesn't get us down. We continue to come back and right the ship and get back into the win column. And that's a huge shout out to Sean McVay of having his team ready to go each and every week, regardless of what kind of adversity they're experiencing. For me, I can't wait for the playoffs to start. So, all right. If you haven't already, be sure to smash the like button, comment, subscribe to the channel wherever you're watching us from. And I'll be back in the next one next week. Until then, see you guys, and we'll talk to you next week. Peace.